So it's finished West Ham 3, Wolves 0. Just a quick update on what's happened in the game and key points that went as we go along. So the key thing for that really, starting point was the formation change. Obviously, 4 at the back. I said on here last week after the Burnley game that he probably should have gone to back 4 during that game. And then I said I don't think he'd do it at West Ham away or at Chelsea at home. He has done that now, and there's probably reasons why, looking at the performance today, why he probably shouldn't have done that. But it swings and roundabouts because a lot of it, some of the stuff in the game only happened because we had a back 4. So, but there were some positive things from it as well. So it wasn't all negative, complete negative. First 10 minutes, I thought Bentley was really poor to start with. There was loads of crosses and corners that he wasn't coming for and sure about. He was flapping at things, or sometimes he was leaving things that he definitely should have come for. That's just showing of a player that a keeper's not playing very regularly. I think it's difficult with number 2 goalkeepers. They always have to come in, and everyone expects them to be at the same level as the first choice goalkeeper. The thing is, they're not, one, they're number 2 for a reason, and secondly, they're not playing every week. They're not regularly playing, so that's obviously got a negative effect on them. We conceded from our own corner. It was a good position we were in, and then we ended up conceding from that. It's disappointing because it was opportunity. There was an opportunity where it bounced 50-50 with Bellegarde, and he probably should have done better with that to win that, and he didn't. And that whole counter attack started for them. The fullbacks were defending too high, or basically their positions in general were too high. Tiki-Taki Gomez was one of the goals. He was caught when the ball turned over. He's the wrong side of possession, and he's made a bit of a mess of it, really. So that's something we need to work at. Totti Gomez didn't have a good game at all. I've always said this about Totti. I think he's good in the left side of the back 3, in the back 5, in the back side, in the middle of the 3. So on the left of the 3. But when he's a left back, he can't play. If he's number 2 in the back, if he's one of the centre backs in the back 4, he can't do that either. So that's definitely something he needs to look at, Gary O'Neill, because that's something we can't move forward. Even when Aït-Nouri came on later on in the game, he looked more comfortable anyway. Just in general, looks better. Obviously, he's a better footballer. So sloppy with passing today. That's one of the weakest performances I've seen for that. We get the ball away so many times. You watch the goals. It's just like we give a ball away in midfield. Someone trying to do a turn. Someone plays a sloppy pass. And then West Ham would punish us straight away. That was lethal with the chances they had. They just didn't give us any breathing room in any of those, really. The first half, we did create some chances. West Ham did loads of blocks in the first half. So it was fine margins. Bellegarde got one blocked. There's a couple of others in there that were on target that would have gone in. Some would have gone in, I think, if they hadn't been blocked by the West Ham defenders. But then the other side, the flip side of it, is the actual goal that we scored, the offside goal. That's what our formation's about. It's about getting Bellegarde going forward, Sarabia getting forward, Kuna, getting those players in the right areas. That's what that was a quality goal. I know it was offside, but that was a quality goal that we created there, a good chance. And we weren't doing anything like that against Burnley last week, really. Not consistently. I do think we created more chances against West Ham than we did against Burnley, but that's what their formation was going to do. But we can't play like that really in the backwards. If you play like that at the moment, you'll lose more games than you win. That'll be that you'll concede too many goals. So that's something he's going to have to look at for Chelsea, because if you play like that against Chelsea, they'll put 3 or 4 passes themselves. Centre backs at the moment, they aren't quick enough to play a back 4. I don't think those two, both Dawson and Kilman, have to step up so high at the pitch to try and win that ball that if one of them gets rolled, the other one's not got the pace to cover them anyway. So we've got no options that in terms of centre backs. Santi Bueno's not much quicker either. So I don't know how they're going to do that going forward, really. And then the main key player for me, the positive for me, was Sarabia. I thought Sarabia was really good today. He's really positive, got on the ball, kept going forward, trying to find passes, trying to make things happen. I really liked that. He sort of led by example today, so I was really impressed by Sarabia. And then if anyone wants to know where Hwang is today, because he played the game, he was there. He was on the pitch. I saw him. He was there for 90 minutes, but I don't know if he actually played. He was nowhere near anything today, which is a shame for Hwang. He didn't really get many chances either, but he didn't sort of offer enough in the game in terms of getting involved or trying to contribute and being strong enough and all that sort of stuff. He wasn't doing any of that, and a lot of the players weren't doing that. They weren't battling enough. It comes to a simple thing of losing your battles. And then West Ham played on Thursday, and they've got no excuse, and they battled us and beat us. It was all over the park in those individual battles. So that's the big difference for me today. Obviously, Chelsea now on Christmas Eve. At home game. Going to be a weird atmosphere, I think, for that one, because a lot of fans have either swapped the tickets or not going or different things. Obviously, Christmas. So it'll be interesting to see what the atmosphere is like. But hopefully we get a better result than today, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Well, I think that's got to be up there with one of the worst performances of the season. And the worrying thing is Gary O'Neill's had 8 days to work on that with West Ham, against the West Ham team who lost 5-0 last weekend and played on Thursday night. And they looked fresher, they looked sharper. They looked like they had more ideas than us, and the worst thing was they looked like they wanted it more than us. From the first minute, lack of passion, lack of fight. I'm not sure we won a 50-50 all game really, and definitely didn't win a second ball. Too much static, there's no movement. We were quite high up, so you can see the whole pitch, and when we get the ball, there's too much of a just look backwards every time, which obviously then makes it difficult to get anything going. West Ham got back in numbers and defended well, but it's just too much backwards, too much sideways, not enough getting the ball forward. Bit of a lack of midfield at times as well. Feels like the ball a lot of the time goes straight from the defence straight up front to the forward players and kind of misses out the middle, and it almost feels as if he's trying to shoehorn in Kuna, Hwang and Sarabia, trying to play the three of them and not really knowing how to do that. Kuna's sometimes drifting out wide, sometimes in the middle. Hwang and Sarabia both doing the same. Hwang, I thought, had an awful game today. Spent far too long out on the touchline, gave the ball away too often, but he wasn't the only one. There was a lot of poor performances in there today, and as I say, just no real movement. And we get the ball out wide. We had a spell of about 5-10 minutes after we had a goal disallowed in the second half, where we did actually have a bit of the ball, knocked it around a bit, and looked like we were playing better, but still didn't really create any chances. And I think that's the most disappointing thing against a West Ham team that shipped 5 last week, and we barely create a chance, which just really isn't good enough. And I say the worrying thing is he's had 8 days to work on that, and that's the best he can come up with. I'm a little bit concerned. I wasn't really sure if it was a 4 or 5 at the back first half. Times felt like a 5, sometimes a 4. Bellegarde, I think, was as confused as me. Didn't know if he was left wing back, left wing, left midfield, or really where he was playing, and had a bit of a shocker in all honesty. But yeah, overall, just not good enough, and far too much space at the back. How for their second goal, Kudus is 10 yards behind Totti and he doesn't even know he's there. And Dawson's lack of pace really exposed today. We're far too easy to play against. Just play it in front of the opposition when we've got the ball, and really just leave loads of space in behind when we don't. So yeah, overall not good enough today. O'Neill's got to change something round. Sasha and Silva not coming on when we're 2-0, 3-0 down, I think it just about says it all. He clearly doesn't seem to rate either of them, which I think is a shame on both fronts. But if he doesn't, they need to be moved on in January and some replacements found, because there's no focal point up front, which makes it really, really difficult for us. But yeah, I think definitely one of the worst performances in the season, and up there with the away performance of West Ham last year, which ultimately was Large's last game, which, I'm not saying by any means O'Neill should get the sack. I think we're doing far better than we thought we would this season, but the performances have got to improve. The last 3 definitely have not been good enough.
Right, short and sweet. That was shit. It was awful. The first half in particular, it was some of the worst football I've seen us play in quite some time. Like, I'm dating back to like Bruno Lage and Nuno days kind of football. Yeah, literally no midfield. Totti at left back was a disgrace pretty much for the entire game, if I'm being honest. He just got absolutely rinsed over and over again. Zero defensive awareness, tracking back, didn't know when to go forward. I'm not really sure what the plan was from Gary O'Neill today, and I think a lot of it is on him. The 4 at the back, why? I mean, I get it, Hugo Bueno, you didn't trust him after last week's performance because he was awful, but surely we would have offered a little bit more defensive stability and stayed in the game longer if we just had 5 at the back, which is what we'd built on positively throughout the entire season. So to change it now and try and surprise West Ham away from home in London, where our record is awful anyway, I don't really get it. And for me, it's a shocking decision. The substitutions came too late. Why there was no changes at halftime, I don't know. And it was pretty wasteful. It was honestly a waste of a day, a waste of a trip for all those fans that have gone down there. And our away form continues to be shocking. We're a completely different team at home to the one that we are away. A fair play to everyone that made the trip down there and continues to make trips all across the country to see us play and repetitively lose 2, 3, 4-0 away from home. I thought a few weeks ago we turned a corner and that we would be good enough to like jump ourselves into the top half, perhaps, but no, we are exactly where I thought we'd be come the beginning of the season, which is fighting for 15th, 16th, 17th in the Premier League. I I'm trying to think about good performances today, and I really can't think about one. A Semedo maybe, very decent going forward, creating chances. Obviously, the goal that's offside in the end, he puts across for what would have been, I think, his first assist of the season, which I think he's trying to been working on that kind of aspect to his game. So fair play. And I can't really remember him being absolutely rinsed down his side all that much. All I remember is Totti being rinsed. Bellegarde isn't really a left winger. He's not really a central midfielder. And if you play him on the right, he just turns back and passes back anyway. The one time where I've seen him maybe do all right is he beat a man and got an assist a couple of weeks ago on the right-hand side. So why he's being played on the left, for Hwang to ghost all game again and do absolutely nothing apart from shoot into men, great. Like, it's a huge waste if you're on the edge of the box, that you've cut inside and you're just going to shoot into a man who's going to block it, obviously. Like, you need to be a little bit more delicate and creative. It's a waste. Cunha didn't get the ball from deep and drive like you were used to, and the one time that he did, he created a chance and he shot and it was saved. Why are we not doing that more? Like, why? For me, Lamina and João Gomes were too passive today. The one time where we were a little bit aggressive, there was a little bit of a press, João Gomes wins the ball back in midfield and create an opportunity out of it. There seemed to be zero press today, and I think that comes from playing Sarabia and Bellegarde. They don't seem to be the pressing type. Like, it's just completely different as if we were to play Neto and Aït-Nouri, and a little bit of pace up front with some form of press seems to create opportunities for us, and that's where we scored goals last week as well. Against Burnley, was it at home? Where we're sort of pressing them and they press into a mistake and we create an opportunity to score a goal with Hwang, who only seems to score one-on-ones or tap-ins. So fair play to him for the new contract, but he ghosted again today, and Sarabia, without the offside goal, did absolutely nothing. I think against these teams away from home, you need pace, and this is not a Sarabia kind of game, unfortunately. So I think Gary O'Neill got it completely wrong today. And it's bound to happen because he's an inexperienced coach and he's only had one other role. But yeah, for me, not a great performance. In fact, that's doing it lightly. I'm absolutely raging, to be honest with you. Like, it's definitely pissed me off. Yeah, I know Chelsea are absolute shite as well, but if we play like that against Chelsea next week at home, and I know we're a different team home and away, but if we even slightly reek of a performance like that, they will turn us over with like Mudryk and Nicholas Jackson, and they're wank as well. So great, I can't wait. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas Eve. Waste of time.